W5GUS and the group in 5BB. And yes, I will keep you up to date on my house project in 5BB clear.
Okay, Bill. Yeah, I'd be curious to keep know what's going on there, and your elevator as well. I know you were planning on getting one of those in there. That'd be pretty interesting. And I believe the last gentleman that called in there, he was saying it's a black stripe African cobra, I guess. I think that's what he said. Man, what a what a dilemma of cobra. Those are, well, man, I can see why people are concerned about that. And that thing could live for a long time. Luckily, there's not two of them, so it won't reproduce, hopefully. All right, well, I guess I better get busy in the kitchen, too. So we'll catch you guys later in the group, and good luck on that house there, Bill. And, yeah, I'd get some pictures of that every day or every week or every few times a week. You'll be glad you have them. Make a little time-lapse video of them when it's over, and you can see it go up pretty quickly. Okay, we'll see everybody later. W5GUS, be clear.
KF5GRH, thanks for keeping me company running up the hill.
N5KRG, I'm just reading about the black stripe or zebra African cobra. It is nocturnal, so that you may want to keep that in mind, Melissa. And it can spit venom up to 9 feet. So that's a pretty talented snake.
I'm going to spit back at him. KF5GRH.
Ouch. And I think of all the time I spend in crawl spaces, or Aaron spends weeding in the leaf litter. I discovered that the vegetables I was going to prepare tonight for cooking tomorrow, well, some of them had gone bad. I waited too long, bad me. So now I'm going to make a bunch of zucchini for different purposes. Some for pasta sauce, some just with seasoning for eating tonight. It's zucchini night.
GME.
Jimmy.
DME, go ahead.
Yeah, this is Kilo Alpha 6 Golf Mike Echo David down here in Bosque County. Not to make a joke of it, but there used to be a Hemi cornet up there on the loose.
Oh, that's hilarious, N5KRG.
But to the house builder, you might think of stuff when you get old, you know, handicapped bathrooms, ramps, you know, doors that are easy to get to and whatnot.
Well, I apologize, but serious or not, or funny or not, I didn't catch that word, so I either missed the news or missed the joke.
Well, years ago, Ford made a car called the Cobra, a King Cobra, and it was the baddest thing around. The only thing that could beat it was a Hemi cornet, and that's what I was saying. There used to be a Hemi cornet on the run loose up there. Kind of a bad joke, but I don't know who lets people like that have something like that. Like you said, it's nocturnal. Oh, that's just great.
Are you saying a type of Corvette, the Chevy car?
No, a coronet, like a hat the nuns used to wear, like a coronet.
It's a Dodge Coronet. Was a model of a Dodge, and it was equipped with a 426 Hemi. I had a 426 Hemi six-pack and a Chrysler Newport in the early 70s. They were pretty powerful, pretty running cars. But yeah, there was a ongoing rivalry between the King Cobra and just about any other muscle car back in the day, N5 KRG.
Thank you for translating. I have never been a car person. To me, most of those words were in either Russian or Greek, I think. But okay, yeah, big zoomy cars. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't really speak automobile. NT5TM.
Yeah, what year was that Newport, this K6 GME? We had a 57 Chevy. We call it a drag car because we had to drag it here and we had to drag it there.
It was a 69. It was the typical nauseous Dodge green with a white convertible hardtop, they call it at the time. Pretty nasty looking thing. It was all speckled with paint because it had been repossessed from a painter who had driven it to Alaska and back. I put airlifts on it and exhaust cutouts, and back in the day, you'd pull up at a light, and somebody would pull up next to you with a goat or a Mustang or something, and give you the signal that they wanted to drag. And I'd reach down, pop the button, and lift the back up about 6 inches, and pull the cutouts, and let them hear that 426, and then left them looking at taillights. Of course, I'm not admitting to any of this on the air because this didn't really happen, and the statute of limitations, I'm sure, is expired by now. N5 KRG.
That's so funny.
Yeah, that Newport, that's a pretty good sized car, so I'm sure a lot of them tried to give you a go at it. You know, the little GTO and that, they're pretty small. Chevelles and that, they're pretty small cars, but a Newport, that's just about the power pack for it. I had a 66 Caprice Sport Coupe, first year of a Caprice, and a highway patrolman pulled me over and said if that was a 427 and a 4-speed, they only made 8 of them. I guess he was a gearhead.
Reminds me of that movie, My Cousin Vinny. I always laughed at that movie. That was hilarious. N5 KRG.
W5FC.
KI5GRH in my super duper Subaru Forester 2010. Yeah.
Melissa, no racing until you get those brakes taken care of. This N5 IMS.
That is so true. My son really needs to get onto that because I'm downshifting.
And turning the corner, a lot of those cars could go straight lines, but when you turn the corner, it's a different story.
Mr. Chairman, I need to make myself very clear. If we uplink now, Skynet will be in control of your military.
But you'll be in control of Skynet, right?
That is correct, sir.
Skynet.
Cat 5 GRH clear.
K6 GME. Was Skynet coming on tonight, or is that every night?
All right. Well, Skynet's every Saturday night at 9 p.m., just like Roger says constantly on the repeater. That's the automated Roger. Could be one of the Skynet folks. This is KE5ICX. My name's... Anybody need to use the repeater before we begin tonight's Skynet?
I just have one question here for you, K6 Jamie.
Yeah, go ahead.
The basic planets are all in the same plane up here. I wonder which is the bright one up here right now.
Oh, I'm not sure. I think I missed that one. Go ahead. Okay, well, let's begin. Skynet is a weekly net called every Saturday night at 9 p.m. concerning the subject of astronomy. Our purpose is to help amateurs become more familiar with the nighttime and daytime sky, astronomy, and space in general. This net is open to all amateurs interested in this topic. We encourage your participation, comments, and suggestions for this net. Stations of priority or emergency traffic may enter the net at any time by using the pro sign break very enthusiastically and your call sign. Is there any emergency or priority traffic? Now's your time. This is a directed net, so please do not transmit without direction from net control. That would be me this evening. The stations are reminded to ID at the end of your transmissions. This weekly net operates on this frequency with a PL tone of 110.9. Check-ins via Echolink are also possible using W5FC-R station ID or Echolink node 37247. Tonight's topics, astronomy charts, pictures, and live audio-video links are available on the club website, which is whiskey5friedchicken.org, w5fc.org, right now for a complete list. Remember to tell others about this popular net. All amateur operators are welcome, and you need not be a member of any amateur radio club to participate. The net is 90 minutes long, structured into, 12 parts. General announcements, 2 Texas Astronomical Society events, where and when you can look through a telescope. Well, we'll see about that one tonight. National Space Society events. Discussion topic of the evening was up. What's next after that? Number 6, space exploration and space history. Constellation of the week, space launches of the week, recent astronomical discoveries, visible satellite passages over the next couple of days, astronomical Q&A, and 73 round. Now, of course, if we run out of time, then we won't get to all of these, but we generally manage to get through most of them. So round 1 in check-ins is low-power short-time check-ins. If you're one of those, please come now with your call sign name and where you are transmitting from this evening. So that is call sign name and where you're transmitting from. Try phonetically for me, please.
This is Whiskey Bravo number 4, Mike Foxtrot, India, WV4MFI, Ted, Dallas, low power.
This is Whiskey 5, Golf, Uniform, Sierra, Gus, far northeast Dallas, 5 watts.
have WB4MFI, Ted, Dallas, low power. I got W5GUS, Gus, far northeast Dallas on 5 watts. We'll call that low power. Anyone else low power, short time, please come out. Okay, hearing none, let's go to general check-ins. Please come with your call sign phonetically, your name and where you're transmitting from. General check-ins.
This is Kilo India 5 Golf Romeo Hotel. I'm at Park, driving mobile.
Kilo 0 Foxtrot Echo Romeos, Chris in Southeast Dallas.
Kilo Echo 5, Papa Oscar Echo, Lee and Mansfield.
Kilo Golf 5, Bravo, Zulu, Whiskey, J, near Weatherford.
November 5, Bravo, Bravo. Houseless Bill in Irving.
Whiskey Bravo 5, Oscar Zulu Lima, Brenda and DeSoto.
Kilo India 5, Romeo Bravo Hotel, Timothy in Bedford.
Kilo Foxtrot 5, Zulu Bravo Lima, Bill.
Kilo Golf 5, Uniform Foxtrot Romeo, Jacob in Dallas.
November Tango 5, Tango Mike, Tony in the kitchen.
This is Alpha Alpha 5, Alpha Hotel, Robert Richards.
Kilo. Let me go ahead and get everybody checked in. I got KI5GRH. Melissa, she didn't identify herself, but I recognize that voice in that call. She's mobile. K0FXR, Chris, Southeast Dallas. KE5POE, that's Lee in Mansfield. KG5BZWJ near Weatherford. N5BB Bill, Irving. WB5OZL, Miss Brenda DeSoto. KI5 RBH, that's Timothy in Bedford. KF5 ZBL, Bill in Farmers Branch. KG5USR, Jacob in Dallas. NT5TM, Tony. He says he's in his kitchen, but I think that's in Dallas. AA5AH, Robert in Richardson. I'll take additional check-ins. Please come with your call sign phonetically, your name, and where you're transmitting from.
This is Kilo Foxtrot 5, Juliet Hotel Alpha. Chaz, even though it says Moon Man on Echolink, I'm actually on planet Earth, Mesquite, Texas.
This is Kilo Golf 5, Whiskey Victor Lima, James in Carrollton.
Wow, this may be a slow night tonight. I've got KF5JJ, Chaz in Mesquite, Mr. Moonman, KG5 Whiskey Victor Lima, that's James in Carrollton. Do I have additional check-ins on RF before I go to Echolink? Please come now.
This is Alpha Golf 9, Sierra Golf, Antonio, Dallas.
Okay, I got Antonio. I got you. I got your suffix. I got 9 Sierra Golf. Could you give me your prefix again or your full call?
Sure. This is Alpha Golf 9er Sierra Golf, Antonio.
Okay, Antonio, give it to me one more time. I can't quite make out your prefix. If you don't mind, one more time.
Sure, no problem. This is Alpha Golf 9er Sierra Golf, AG9SG. Over.
Third time's the charm. I've got you. Alpha Golf 9 Sierra Golf. Antonio, welcome. Glad to have you on the net. I will now switch over to Echolink. If you're on Echolink and you would like to check in this evening, I will give you extra time. Please come with your call sign, your name, and where you're transmitting from.
Kilo, Golf, 5, Juliet, Papa, Uniform, Anthony, in Benbrook, Texas.
Golf 5, Zulu Mike Golf, Joe in Arlington. Kilo India 5, Kilo Tango Zulu, Philip, White Rock Lake.
Okay, picked up 3 more over on Echolink. I got KG5JPU, that's Anthony over in Bedford. I got KG5ZMG, that's Joe in Arlington. And KI5KTZ, that's Philip at White Rock Lake. Anyone else over on Echolink like to check in? You can go ahead and type in the chat box if you don't have audio. Echolink only, please come now. Okay, I will open it back up to anyone who'd like to check in. Please come now with your call sign, your name, and where you're transmitting from.
Alpha India 5, Delta Yankee, AI 5, DY, Bill, Garland.
Very good. We picked up one more. AI5DY, Bill, over in Garland. All right, let's see here. It's time to begin. So, do we have any general announcements for this evening's net? These can be of ham, astronomical, space, or general interest to licensed hams. Please come now.
Number Tango 5, Tango Mike.
Okay, we have Tony, NT5TM. Tony, go ahead. Net is yours.
Thank you, Tom. It is a fine Saturday night. I've heard lots of friends on the repeater today, and I hope we're all having fun. This is not our last opportunity to have fun on this repeater tonight. We have the usual Afterglow movie. We're going to be talking about a made-for-TV Stargate movie tonight, which was kind of interesting and fun. And also, we have a special guest net tonight. There's been trouble on the Irving repeater, and so, right about 10:30, we have the late traffic net is very likely to be meeting on this repeater. So Skynet might be just a touch late, but the late traffic net is usually fast and efficient. And hey, you're very welcome to check in. Excuse me, of course, I meant the Afterglow net. Skynet has already started. We do have the third Sunday coming up tomorrow, so we have the RACES training net at 8 p.m. and the DARC meeting on the air at 7 p.m. I would like to urge everyone to keep their eye on w5fc.org. We'll have details about how to sign up for this month's lecture and lab with a couple of fun kits posted very soon. And we'll have details about our upcoming club meetings. Our September meeting has been moved to virtual, and in fact, we're likely to remain virtual until the start of the next year. So please join us here tonight and tomorrow at 7 and 8, and keep your eyes on w5fc.org. NT5TM.
Thank you, Tony. Does anybody need any fills? Have any questions? Please come with your call. All right, let me go through some of the nets that we have here. We have the AMSAT group net and amateur radio satellite stuff. Has several nets available here for Dallas residents on Tuesday evenings at 8 p.m. You'll need Echolink installed and you're registered, and you go under groups in the AMSAT. This is the live audio link is also available in Houston, Texas. So what are they? What do they do? Well, they provide information about amateur radio satellites. So there's that. Let me show you the website here if you're watching the video. The Dallas AMSAT net East, that's the local net here, is every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. on this repeater. Tom N5HYP is the net control, and are welcome to check in if you want to know about amateur satellites and how to make contacts with them. That's the guy to talk to. That's every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. First Tuesday of the month is the DARC Club meeting, so there's no AMSAT East because Tom's in the meeting. We also have NASA AMSAT Net West. That's every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. on the Arlington repeater. That frequency is 147.140 megahertz with a PL 110.9er. It has a positive offset. We also have a number of nets available on this repeater. Monday nights are very active. The first week we have Ham Fixin's net. This is where you can bring recipes, cooking, and all sorts of fun stuff like that to the net. Actually, get some pretty good ideas about cooking, because we all know hams not only like to talk on the radio, they also like to eat. Second week Mondays at 7 p.m. we have the MCOM 101 net, a non-denominational net talking about emergency communications. Gather here at 7 p.m. for about an hour, and you'll learn all about emergency communications as well as served agencies. So the third week on Mondays we have Ham Fixin's net, a second helping. Come on by with additional recipes and stuff. Fourth week is Geek Net. This is where we expand beyond the usual geeky stuff we already do, which is amateur radio, but anything you got. You want to talk about computers, you want to talk about interfaces, whatever you want. Building stuff, this is the place to go. Fourth week, GeekNet. And if there's a fifth week, we have a surprise net. If we told you what it was, it wouldn't be a surprise. Air participation is encouraged. We've done Truth and Dare. We've done Jeopardy. We've done Make a Story. It doesn't matter. It's really a lot of fun. There's usually a contest. Sometimes there's even a prize. Also, let's see. Oh, I did AMSAT East already, so let's see. Friday, Search City Simulation. Emergency radio communications via CERT-trained amateur radio operators. Melissa, who checked in on the net, KF5GRH, is usually the net controller. She's in the background making all that stuff happen. Visit the most disaster-prone city in the universe every Friday. Search City, all are welcome. And they are currently meeting summer hours at 8 p.m. And, of course, on Saturdays we have TechNet from 7 to 8 p.m. and Skynet, which is what you're listening to right now. Don't forget the first and third Sundays is the Dallas Amateur Radio Club meeting on the air, sometimes mentioned as MODA. Let's see. Daily, we have the ARRL Net National Traffic System training net every night at 6:30 p.m. If you want to learn about formalized traffic and how to handle all of that, that's the net to join. You can do no wrong. It's a training net. Now, I have something for you tonight on tonight's Afterglow. Oh, I forgot to put, oh, jeez, hang on a sec. Oh, I'm looking for it. Hang on, I forgot to put it in the script. Afterglow movie, here it is, so I got to go to the website and read it. Here it is. Here we go. So tonight's Afterglow movie net, Jack O'Neill stared at the television in complete disbelief. The image depicted a heavy-set man and a skinny first mate, and then it dissolved to black. An announcer came on and explained what was going on. We will return to Gilligan's Island, year 35, right after these words from Cool Cigarettes for Kids. O'Neill knew something was wrong. He wasn't sure what. The 3-decade stint for the Gilligan's Island and cigarettes for kids seemed pretty normal. He flipped the TV off and headed to work in his Pinto station wagon. He arrived at Stargate headquarters, but there was no Stargate headquarters, just a tunnel with a guy dressed as a bat hanging out inside. Join us for the second full-length movie for the SG-1 television series called Stargate Continuum. We'll be talking about it sometime after the late traffic net, around 10:30 p.m., maybe a little later. Think about it. You can still see it. It's available on YouTube for free. Okay, with those announcements, does anybody need any fills on anything that was covered? Please come with your call. Okay, next up is Texas Astronomical Society of Dallas events, where and when you can look through a telescope. Let's see, I think Chaz is the only one here, but Chaz, K5JHA, I'll just go right to you. Tell us what we need to know about TAS from KE5ICX.
Can we talk about the pizza discussion we're having over on Echolink? Oh, never mind. The next Texas Astronomical Society of Dallas Club meeting will be held on Friday, August the 27th at 7:30 p.m. It'll be a Zoom meeting. The meeting will be about quantum computing and astronomy simulations by Michael McGugan from Brookhaven National Laboratory. TAS Club members will receive an email link to the Zoom meeting in advance of the meeting, probably about a week or so ahead of time. TAS has plans to resume having face-to-face meetings in their September meeting, and TAS has already resumed having some public observing sessions with social distancing. But with the surge of COVID-19 cases, the public observing stations, I think, are on hold again. And the September club meeting may only go to Zoom. We don't know yet. One of the reasons that Skynet was picked to be on Saturday nights was so that there was an opportunity for live reports from the TAS public observing stations that are also held on Saturday nights. Check the TAS website, texasastro.org, for up-to-date information and details about meetings and public observing sessions. And we'll send that back to our net control. Who is that guy? KE5ICX. I can't see what your T-shirt is you're wearing today. You're too close up to the camera. You need to either stand up or, back off so we can see the T-shirt. This is KF5JHA, back to net control.
Well, thank you, Chaz. And I'm wearing a LifeWalk T-shirt tonight. I was looking for, Brenda gave me a 707 shirt with all the companies, all the airlines that had bought the 707 back in the 60s, but I couldn't find it this evening, so I'm just wearing my LifeWalk shirt. There you go, LifeWalk shirt. So I'll wear the other one next week, I promise. This is KE5ICX. I'm net control for tonight. We are going down the list of things to talk about. So we have National Space Society events and activities. That would be Bill, N5BB. Bill, what do you have for us for the National Space Society of North Texas?
We have plenty of space for participants in our organization, Tom. This is N5BB. I happen to be the membership director of the National Space Society North Texas chapter. We're normally, when COVID-19 isn't here, we're normally a very active chapter, have monthly meetings with speakers, sometimes astronauts, sometimes Spacex employees, sometimes spacesuit designers, sometimes parachute designers for Gemini missions, and all kinds of other interesting speakers. Our normal meeting time is the second Sunday afternoon of each month at Spring Creek Barbecue in Irving. We did meet there in July, but then one of our members got COVID, and it might have been at Moon Day, which we participated at. So we've gone back to virtual for now, and we'll see what we'll do next month. We're kind of playing it by ear as the hospitals fill up and everybody's starting to worry again. But anyway, once everything is back to more of a normal situation, we'll be having presentations and tables with literature and things in museums and schools and other kinds of public venues. The National Space Society does a lot of cool things. It has, every week or two, there's events that are virtual with speakers and sometimes multiple people arguing or discussing some topic, and lots of other stuff. So National Space Society is a popularization and an interest group for all things related to human uses of space. All things related to human uses of space, especially manned and human and womaned spaceflight. Anyway, if you're interested in National Space Society, you can ask me about joining. Send me an email at space@byrom.net. That's SPACE@BYROM.net. Or N5BB, that's November 5 Bravo, at ARRL.net. And one little comment I've got, yesterday I was getting my hair cut because I was starting to look a little more disreputable than I normally do. And I was sitting there waiting to get it cut. There's another guy there whose grandkid was getting his hair cut. And he had a Spacex shirt on. And so I asked him about whether he was a space enthusiast. He said, well, I retired from SpaceX. So I thought this is a really cool topic for discussion. And I asked him, where did he work for SpaceX before he retired a couple of years ago? And he said, in Texas. And I said, oh, Boca Chica down in South Texas. He said, no, McGregor, which is near Waco. That's where SpaceX purchased an old rocket factory, and that's where they're testing and developing most of their rocket engines now. And he was a crane operator, a heavy crane operator. And so he was moving things around and building rockets up, stacking things on top of each other. And he said they were trying to get him to go down to Boca Chica in South Texas, SpaceX was, to build the new monster rockets they're building. But he decided to stay in retirement, so he's not getting that excitement. But he knows the crane operator down there that's doing it. Anyway, I thought that was interesting. Space things going on in Texas in 5BB. That's all I got.
Oh, very good. Thank you, Bill. And I'll just add a little story. As most people know, I'm a docent at the Frontiers of Flight Museum in Dallas, usually on Sundays. Not always, but mostly every week. One thing I can tell you is we get a lot of folks from Spacex, Texas folks, who come in and talk about what they do. I had a couple, relatively young couple, they were in their 20s, who came in. She worked on the SpaceX program. I'm sorry. He worked on the SpaceX program, and she was working on Starship. And yes, that's what they talk about all evening long is SpaceX and Starship. So keep it in the family, I guess. All right, let me see. I guess I should ask any additional check-ins who'd like to come this evening, come to the net this evening. Please come with your call sign, your name, where you're transmitting from.
Kilo Bravo 9, Sierra Oscar Kilo, Sean in Fort Worth.
Okay, got one more. I got KV9SOK, Sean over in Fort Worth. A good signal, as always. I don't know where you are in Fort Worth, but you usually have a good signal. We got you. Of course, you got to do the traffic net all the time, too, so that may play into it a little bit. All right, since I'm net control, I get to talk about the topic that I picked this evening. I had a whole bunch of things I had to do this evening, as you will find out. So my topic's going to be relatively short, but we have the 44th anniversary of the launch of Enterprise, this shuttle. This one did not go into space, however, it was launched from what's called a shuttle carrier aircraft, or a 747-100 series, which I watched back then. I'm an old guy now, so I remember watching these live on television back in the summer when I was off from college. So I've got a really short thing on this. This came from one of the NASA sites. I think it was really kind of more for kids, but it still gives the information. So here we go. Enterprise took the next giant leap. This is on August 12, 1977, for the NASA Space Shuttle Approach and Landing Test, or ALT program, free flight. Earlier that year, Enterprise, NASA's first space shuttle orbiter, arrived at Dryden Flight Research Center at Edwards Air Force Base in California, now Armstrong Research Center. Following 8 captive carry flights, which piggybacked off a modified Boeing 747 shuttle carrier aircraft, or SCA, Enterprise was finally ready for its first free flight test. On board Enterprise were 2 NASA astronauts, Fred Hayes, who you may remember as one of the astronauts from Apollo 13, and Gordon Fullerton. At 8 a.m., the SCA accelerated down the runway with Enterprise atop in piggyback formations. According to NASA, a crowd of roughly 65,000 visitors, 900 members of the press, and 2,000 special guests had gathered to witness this historic event. The release happened at 8:48 a.m., slightly behind schedule, but the shuttle orbiter and the SCA separated and the Enterprise was flying on its own. Hayes and Fullerton glided the Enterprise down to the lake bed runway and safely landed. The mission was a success. 4 additional free flight tests were conducted that year. Both the captive and free flight tests proved the shuttle orbiters could fly atop the SCA in a piggyback formation, which was necessary to ferry shuttle orbiters from Dryden, where they would be landing, and back to Florida, where they would launch again. Perhaps most importantly, these free flight tests proved that shuttle orbiters could land upon their return from space. So, NASA named the shuttle after the classic sci-fi television series. According to NASA, Enterprise was originally going to be named Constitution. in celebration of the U.S. Constitution's bicentennial. This is 1976. However, fans of the popular SF TV show Star Trek began a massive campaign to urge the White House to select Enterprise as the name. This was something that had never before been seen in space program history. And yes, I was one of those people who wrote a letter. I really did. Let's see here. When Enterprise rolled out of the manufacturing facility, the cast of Star Trek was there to greet the shuttle, including actor Leonard Nimoy, who played Spock in the television series. Actually, everybody was there with the exception of William Shatner. I think the entire cast. And, of course, Gene Roddenberry. I'm looking at the folks. Yeah, Shatner didn't show up, but what do you expect? Let's see. In 1983, the Enterprise went on a goodwill tour throughout Europe between May 16th and June 12th of that year. The orbiter traveled both at the top to the SCA to England, Germany, and Paris. In 1984, it even barged to New Orleans for the World's Fair. Then in 1985, the Smithsonian Institution took ownership of the Enterprise, and the test shuttle was put on display for 8 years at the Air and Space Museum's Stephen F. Udall Hazy Center. In 2012, the Enterprise made a big move to the Intrepid Sea, Air and Space Museum in New York City, where it remains today. The spacecraft was not equipped to travel to the final frontier. Enterprise may have been NASA's first shuttle orbiter, but it was constructed to be a test vehicle and was not built to travel in space. So, it says here, during your next visit, be sure to stop by Independence Plaza, where you can explore the shuttle replica Independence and step inside the historic shuttle carrier aircraft NASA 905, the largest artifact from the Space Shuttle program that's on display. Now, it also includes 5 fun facts they talk about here. 2 crews of 2 were selected for the free flight test. NASA chose another crew, NASA astronauts Joe Engle and Richard Truly, to alternate with Hayes and Fullerton for the free flight test. By the way, Joe Engle was one of the astronauts that was destined to walk on the moon. However, he got pulled because of the last 3 missions. 18, 19, and 20 were canceled. So he was given anything he wanted to do. He wanted to fly the space shuttle. He opted out of the Skylab and the ASTP project, but he was given anything he wanted because he was destined to go to the moon on I think it was Apollo 18. In any case, Hayes and Fullerton flew on board Enterprise for the 1st, 3rd, and 5th free flight tests. Engle and Truly flew the 2nd and 4th flights. And if I remember, Richard Truly was part of the, the Gemini program, it just went out of my head. I'll think of it, the Air Force secret program. But at any rate, he was part of that program. 2, the final free flight landing uncovered a problem with the orbiter's flight control system. According to NASA, during the 5th and final free flight test, the orbiter experienced a pilot-induced oscillation, or PIO, upon touchdown. It was later discovered that there was a time delay issue between the shuttle's flight control system, which was corrected through another research program. Okay, not sure what happened there. I pretty much watched all of those if I could, but in any case, it is rather interesting. That's it. It's going to be short and sweet this evening because I've got several other pieces that I'm going to have to do, but I thought it was kind of interesting because it popped up in the history items this week, and I thought, well, why not? Let's talk about it, even if it's briefly. So this is KE5ICX. My name's Tom. I'm going to go ahead and go to What's Up. That would be Chaz. Chaz, you want to talk about What's Up? I think I got the new stuff loaded, so be ready. Be there. You're ready. I'm ready. You're ready. Let's all do it. Chaz, you're next.
Why, thank you, Tom. I was watching the Enterprise on MeTV that's being controlled by the M5 computer right now. Okay, this is Chaz, KF5JHA. My degree is in astrophysics. I'm the astrophysics lab manager at Dallas College on Brookhaven campus. We call the segment of Skynet What's Up. Slide Master. Slide number 2, please. Remember that Skynet is not only available on the Dallas repeater, 146.88 megahertz, with a PL tone of 110.9, but also available to hams across the world via Echolink. We're doing all sorts of things, talking about pizza, Windows 10, all sorts of things over on Echolink. So most weeks, Skynet also has a video component, too. You can find the video links at the website w5fc.org. So with Echolink and video, as well as radio, I say that Skynet is 3D. But Tony, he's been on here this evening, NT5TM, he says we're in 4D because of the element of time. By the way, what goes on, again, in Echolink and what's being done on the video might not have anything to do with what we're talking about on the air. To get the full 3D, or rather 4D version of Skynet, you must be monitoring all 3 areas at the same time, and that's what I'm doing. Slide Master, slide number 3, please. On August the 8th, the moon was at its new phase, so the current phase of the moon is a waxing crescent. On August the 15th, that would be tomorrow, the moon will be at its first quarter phase. On August 17th, the moon will be at perigee, which is the point in the moon's orbit that is closest to the Earth. On August the 22nd, the moon will be full. On August 29th, the moon will be at apogee, which is the point in the moon's orbit that is furthest from the Earth. And on August the 30th, the moon will be at its last or third quarter. Slide number 4, please. Now, its peak is over, but I want to talk about the Perseid meteor shower. It peaked on the night of August 11th and 12th. And fortunately, the moon was just a couple of days away from being new, so the annual meteor shower is one of the major meteor showers of the year. It can be mainly seen in the northern hemisphere, but most of the Earth's population lives in the northern hemisphere, and so with it being the warm summertime, it has become the most famous and widely observed meteor shower. Usually the best time to see meteors is after midnight and before morning twilight, because that's the side of the Earth that's running into the leftover clouds of debris from comets or asteroids. If the moon is not interfering with the meteor shower, like it was not this year, you'd see maybe 1 meteor every minute during the Perseid meteor shower. Years ago, I lived in the Seattle area and drove up into the Cascade Mountains and onto a logging road and watched the Perseid. The hour just before dawn, I observed 90 meteors, which on average is about 1 meteor every 45 seconds. That was a fun year. Slide number 5, please. In a few evenings, on the early evening of August the 18th, the planets Mars and Mercury will be very close in conjunction. Do you remember back in December of 2020 when Jupiter and Saturn were in close conjunction? Well, Mars and Mercury on August 18th will be just as close, about 1/10 of a degree apart. You'll need to use binoculars in a very clear western horizon. This will take place in a very strong twilight sky. Slide number 6, please. On August the 20th, the moon and Saturn will be in conjunction in the southeastern evening sky. Slide number 7, please. Just a day later, on August the 21st, the moon and Jupiter will be in conjunction in the southeastern evening sky. Slide number 8. What? Oh, on August the 8th, just about a week ago, the star RS Ophiuchus flared from a brightness of around 12th magnitude and got up to the brightness of 4.5 in just a few hours, it looks like. It is not an ordinary thing for any star to do this. But this star has been doing this strange thing for a long time. Slide number 9, please. So RS Ophiuchus, a study of the light curve of RS Ophiuchus by Annie Jump Cannon. We've talked about her in the past. yielded that the nova had reached a significant increase in light output in 1898, which is the most likely attained a maximum of around fifth magnitude at that time. RS Ophiuchus has flared again in 1933, 1958, 1967, and 1985, and also in 2006. It may have flared again in 1945, while RS Ophiuchus was blocked by the sun's glare. But we missed that one. Slide number 10. Now, why does it do this? It seems that there are two stars in this star system. One star has gone through the end of its evolutionary process and become a white dwarf. We've talked about how stars evolved in Skynet in the past. A white dwarf is no longer producing energy, it is just cooling off. The other star in the system is still an active star with part of its hydrogen flowing onto the surface of the white dwarf. This hydrogen is heated up until a critical temperature for the nuclear thermal reaction occurs, and a runaway process results in an explosion. Slide number 11, please. So a week ago, RS Ophiuchus was at a magnitude of 4.5, which from the city would require a pair of binoculars out in the countryside far away from the city lights. You could see with just your two eyes. Now, tonight, the magnitude is around magnitude 6.5. Just a week later, it's gone down quite a bit, which would be kind of difficult even using binoculars from seeing inside of the DFW Metroplex. The video version of Skynet shows a finder chart. I'm looking at it right now in the video version of where to look to find it. If you'd like, you can search the internet for RS Ophiuchus or go to the website www.aavso.org. That's the American Association of Variable Star Observers, and get more details. It's really fascinating to look through the history of what all happened with observing it. It's kind of cool. And this is KF5JHA, and this is Skynet. Slide number 12, please. Oh, Joe on Echolink said he actually got a picture of RS Ophiuchus this week. Well, that's pretty cool, Joe. Okay, the next Texas Astronomical Society Club meeting will be held on Friday, August the 27th. And again, the topic will be quantum computing and astronomy simulations by Michael McGugan from the Brookhaven National Laboratory. Okay, if you want more details about that and also the public observing sessions with the Texas Astronomical Society of Dallas, go to their website, texasastro.org, for up-to-date information. Okay, slide number 13, please. Now, do any of you out there in Radio Land have any questions or need a fill or on any information, or you just have a general astronomy question? I don't know everything, but I might know the answer to your question, or maybe someone else on radio might know. So come down with your call sign if you have a question.
November Tango 5, Tango Mike.
Well, you're also known as Tony. Tony, go ahead.
Chaz, I think that news about RS Ophiuchus is just awesome and cool and puts Miss Carolyn right back in my mind. But I actually, if there's time before the end of the net, this question is really for Tom. I had a question about the shuttle free flight tests. If there's time, if not, I'll buttonhole him later. NT5TM.
I'll tell you what I'll do. I'm going to say, slide number 14, so as the moon waned at the beginning of August, so do these words for this segment of Skynet. Stay safe, keep for our world. It's the only one where humans live, and until next week, actually, I'll be doing another Skynet segment in a few minutes. Keep looking up so you know what's up. And this is Chaz, KF5JHA, back to our net control. And Tom, you can answer Tony's question if you'd like. KE5ICX, it's yours again.
All right, thank you, Chaz, and thanks for that segment. We'll be back to you here in a little bit. Tony, go ahead and ask your question. I don't know if I'll have an answer, but I'll try. Go ahead.
Thank you, Chaz, and thank you, Tom. Tom, you back to memory a question I had back when I was in first grade. My family had a couple of cars. One was a station wagon that was flat on the back, and the other was a sedan that was sloped. And when I saw pictures of these space shuttle free flight tests with that special long cone fairing on the back, I thought, well, that's not the same thing at all. That makes it go faster and be more like a sports car. So I always, if anyone knew what precautions or measures they took to make sure that the data they got with this special streamlined version of the shuttle would carry over to the actual shuttle with its flat, irregular, drag and turbulence-inducing rear end. I don't know if you knew anything about that, but now that you reminded me, if you don't, I'm going to go try to learn more. NT5TM.
All right, Tony. Well, I think I can answer that question going back to when these tests were done. The one thing I can tell you is this, is that they were very cautious with the shuttle as it was currently designed, because let's face it, it drops or dropped like a rock. When they did the simulated tests in a Gulf Stream, they actually took the aircraft dropped the landing gear and threw the engines in thrust reverse to simulate the shuttle landing, and that's how they learned how to fly with a dead stick. The thing with this is that indeed they had never flown something this large as a glider, and not much of one at that. So the early test, they used what was called, I think they called it the boat in the back, but eventually they did remove it and had engines of some sort or weights. I don't think they were the actual engines, but put on there, and that boat or cowling was removed in the final few tests that they did. So they did get information out of it. And you're right, of course, you're going to get more drag and air turbulence and all of that, and less maneuverability. But yeah, that's what happened. But since this was the first one, and it was the equivalent of trying to land a dead DC-9 with a lot of weight in it, they decided to give the astronauts a little bit more of an opportunity to land the thing successfully. So that classic shot, yes, is the first of those, but later on, towards the end of those missions, they went ahead and removed the boat and then did a landing with simulated engines. I hope that answered it. What do you think? KE5ICX.
Did. I feel better now. NT5TM. Thank you very much.
All right, Tony, very good. Well, I sold you on that. I got a bridge somewhere, too, but that's how I remember it, going by memory. Okay, this is KE5ICX. Let me see. Let's talk about space exploration. I've got that topic this evening, so I'm just doing a reset here, because I got to do all this stuff by myself. So here we go. Space exploration news. NASA's head of human spaceflight says the agency stands behind its astronauts after the Russian space officials tried to blame NASA astronaut for Soyuz air leak in 2018. Yeah, you heard it here first, folks. Claims of a U.S. crew member of the International Space Station sabotaged the Russian Soyuz spacecraft in 2018, causing an air leak at the orbiting laboratory. On Friday afternoon, August 13th, during a media teleconference about recent delays of Boeing's Starliner spacecraft, NASA's human spaceflight chief, Kathy Lueders, told reporters that the personal attacks against NASA's astronaut and Expedition 56 flight engineer Serena Aunonen-Chancellor were baseless. Serena is an extremely well-respected crew member who has served her country and made invaluable contributions to the agency. And I stand behind Serena. We stand behind Serena in her professional conduct, and I cannot find this accusation credible. And that was Lueders' comment, Kathy Lueders' comment about that. Next Next up, Martian dirt is too powdery for Perseverance to collect. The rover Perseverance made its first attempt to collect Martian dirt sample. I don't know, maybe, I guess it's dirt. Doesn't it have to have life in it to be dirt? But I don't know. Regolith, we don't know. Maybe it is dirt. Sample on August 6th, however, Perseverance team found that the sample tubes were actually empty the morning after the collection maneuver. The team concluded that this particular batch of Mars had dirt that was too powdery, there we go, to be successfully collected. Next up, spacesuit delay means 2024 landing. Lunar landing is not an option. A lunar landing plan for year 2024 is not feasible, according to a new report from the NASA Office of the Inspector General, or OIG. NASA's Inspector General audited the space agency's next-generation spacesuits that would be worn for the Artemis program and found that NASA faced significant challenges to get the suits to be flight-ready by November of 2024. Scientists fine-tuned the minuscule odds that asteroid Bennu would hit Earth in 2300. Scientists found that the chances of a near-Earth asteroid Bennu striking our planet in the year 2300 are smaller than previously thought. NASA spent its OSIRIS-REx spacecraft at Bennu, where it spent more than 2 years orbiting and sampling the rock. The observations have followed scientists to fine-tune their earlier predictions, but don't worry, the risk of impact are already very small, even before the update. I don't know, I think 2300 I'll be busy that day, or I won't be busy at all. No new launch date for the Starliner. 9 out of 13 valves need repairing. Boeing Starliner spacecraft couldn't travel to the International Space Station this month because of valve issues. According to the company's statement released on Thursday, August 12th, Boeing's teams have repaired 9 of the 13 problematic valves. The valves belong to the spacecraft's propulsion system, and they're not opening as designed. Currently, Starliner has no new launch date for its orbital flight test tube mission. Oof. Now, on to space-related birthdays. We have on August 8, 1940, we have Dennis Tito, Anthony Tito. He was an American engineer cosmonaut from 2000 to 2001 and the first space tourist. First American to return to Earth in a Russian spacecraft. It was one space flight of 7.9 days. Flew to orbit the Soyuz TM-32 in 2001. Next is Andrea Lorenzoni. He is from Italy. Italian engineer, payload specialist, and astronaut from 1984 to 86. I guess I got him snuck in here. He was, payload specialist for the Italian TSS project, International Space Program Manager for Node 2 and the Italian Space Agency. We have on August 8, 1948, Svetlana, here we go. You guys should know this one. Svetlana Savitskaya. She was the Russian test pilot cosmonaut and test engineer from 1980 to 1993. She was the second woman in space, first woman to walk in space, 2 space flights, flew to orbit on Soyuz T-7 in 1982 and Soyuz T-12. On August 9, 1971, is the birth of Roman Romanenko. This is a Russian pilot from 1997 to 2014, son of cosmonaut Yuri Romanenko. Graduated from, Chernigov Military Air School of Pilots. He had 2 space flights, 333 and a half days in space. Flew to orbit on Soyuz TMA-15 in 2009 and Soyuz TMA-7M. I don't have a date here. It disappeared. At any rate, he did. I promise you. August 11th, 1961, the birth of Frederick Wilford Rick Surkow. He was the first American test pilot He was an American test pilot from 1994 to 2013. First flew to orbit on STS-88. He had 4 space flights with a total of 51.4 days in space. On August 12th, 1951, we had the birth of Charles Brady Jr. He was a physician, an astronaut from 1992 to 2002, one space flight, 16.9 days in space, flew on STS-78. We have birth on August 14th of John Andrew McBride. He was a test pilot from 78 to 89. Flew, he had 1 space flight, 8.2 days in space, flew on STS-41G, and interestingly, he ran but lost as a Republican primary for governor in West Virginia. And then finally, we had Mark Charles Lee. He was an American engineer mission specialist from 84 to 2001. Was married to astronaut Jan Davis, part of the first married couple to fly in space together. Yes, I know what you're thinking. Never mind. 4 space flights, 32.9 days in space. Flew to orbit on STS-30, 47, 64, and 82. All right, this week in space history, there's tons of stuff here. I probably will delete some of this, but just skip through it. But we had the Venus multi-probe launched from Cape Canaveral, Launch Complex 36A. The Venus multi-probe consisted of a bus which carried 1 large and 3 small atmospheric probes. The large probe was released in November 16, 1978, 3 small probes on November 20th. All 4 probes entered the Venus atmosphere on December 9th, followed by the bus. The small probes were each targeted at different parts of the planet or named accordingly. The North probe entered the atmosphere at 6 degrees north latitude. The Night probe entered on the night side. The Day probe entered on the day side and was the only one of the 4 probes which continued to send radio signals back after impact for over an hour. With no heat shield or parachute, the bus survived and made measurements only to about 110 kilometers altitude before burning up. It afforded the only direct view of the upper Venus atmosphere, as the probes did not begin making direct measurements until they had decelerated lower in the atmosphere. STS-28 was the 30th NASA launch. This was on August 8th of 1989, 4th shuttle of the program. On STS-118 launched on August 8, 2007. It was 22nd space shuttle to the International Space Station, continued space station construction by delivering a 3rd starboard thrust segment. Let's see. On August 9, 1976, we had the Luna 24, was a robotic probe of the Soviet Union's lunar program, the last of the lunar series. The Mission 24 probe was the 3rd Soviet mission to return lunar soil samples from the moon. The first 2 returns were Luna 16 and 20. The probe landed in Mare Crisium, or Sea of Crisis, and returned over, 6 ounces of lunar samples to Earth on August 22nd, 1976. On August 10th, 1966, Lunar Orbiter 1 robotic spacecraft was the first American spacecraft to orbit the moon. It was designed primarily to photograph smooth areas of the lunar surface and selection and verification of safe landing sites for the Severa and Apollo missions. And this is KE5ICX. On August 10th, 2001, launch of the STS-105. It was a mission of the Space Shuttle Discovery to the International Space Station. This mission was Discovery's final mission until STS-114 because Discovery was grounded for a refit, and then all shuttles were grounded in the wake of the Columbia disaster. The refit included an update of the flight deck to the glass cockpit layout, which was already installed on Atlantis and Columbia. On August 12, 1962, was the launch of Vostok 3 and 4. These were Soviet space program flights of August of 1962 intended to determine the ability of the human body to function in conditions of weightlessness, test the ground control capability of launch, and manage 2 separate concurrent flights, and test the endurance of the Vostok 3KA spacecraft over longer flights. Cosmonaut Andrei Nikolaev orbited the Earth 64 times in Vostok 3, over nearly 4 days in space. Pavel Pavlich was launched on Vostok 4 on August 12th and made 48 Earth orbits. The two capsules were launched on trajectories that brought the spacecraft within 4 miles of each other. We had a beat done. Gemini's 5 and 6. On August 12th, 1960, was the launch of Echo 1. The spacecraft was a large, thin-skinned sphere that was inflated in launch after leaving the atmosphere. These balloon satellites were approximately 100 feet in diameter with thin skin made of Bopet or Mylar and were built by companies I can't pronounce in Minnesota. Shiny surface was also reflective in the range of visible light. Echo was easily visible by the unaided eye over most of the Earth. The spacecraft was nicknamed the Satelloon by those involved in the project. And what was mentioned earlier, August 12, 1977, Enterprise Flight 4, the space shuttle made its first free flight. Call sign Enterprise after being carried aloft by a Boeing 747. It was released and made unassisted landings at Edwards Air Force Base, California. This is part of a series of approach and landing tests carried out at Edwards from February to October to conduct the first free flight, or ALT, Telcon on Edwards 5 minutes 21 seconds with Enterprise OV-101, Lake Bed, runway 17. On August 12, 2005, we had an Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter, or MRO, was launched on an Atlas 401 rocket from the Space Launch Complex 41 at Cape Canaveral in Florida. The spacecraft was designed to study geology and climate on Mars, provide reconnaissance of future landing sites, and relay data from surface missions back to Earth. It was launched on August 12, 2005, and reached Mars on March 10, 2006. In November of 2006, after 5 months of aerobraking, it entered its final science orbit and began its primary science phase. The cost to develop and operate MRO through the end of its prime mission in 2010 was $716.6 million. The spacecraft continues to operate at Mars far beyond its intended design life. Due to its critical role as a high-speed data relay for ground missions, NASA intends to continue the mission as long as possible, at least through the late 2020s. And that's it for space and space history for this evening. So let me see. I'm going to go ahead and take a break and see if anybody else would like to join us this evening or have any questions. Please come with your call sign name, where you're transmitting from.
Whiskey 5 Lima Oscar Bravo off Echo Link in Combine, Texas.
Oh, okay, I see you there. W5LOB. Can I get your name, please?
Sir, I do apologize. It is Carl, Kilo Alpha Romeo Lima. Talked to y'all before, long time since I've checked into the nets. Whiskey 5 Lima Oscar Bravo.
Well, very good. Welcome back, Carl. We're glad to have you back. And don't forget, we're here every Saturday night at 9 o'clock. Okay, next up is Chaz. He's back. This is Miss Carolyn's Constellation of the Week. So, Chaz, go right ahead. KF5JHA from KE5ICX.
Thank you again, Tom. Slide number 15, please. Miss Carolyn's Constellation of the Week is named in honor of Silent Key Carolyn, KC5OZT. Carolyn contributed to Skynet each week from almost its beginning in 2012 until May of 2019, with a detailed look at one particular constellation each week. Since there are about 52 easily visible constellations seen from Texas throughout the year out of the 88 total constellations, so Miss Carolyn covered the entire sky in a year. In her honor, we have continued the tradition of a constellation per week and named this segment after her. Miss Carolyn's Constellation of the Week this week is Sagittarius the Centaur. Now, just to let you know, how do I choose these? If you take a look at the meridian. The meridian goes from the north straight overhead, that's called the zenith, to the south. That's a line that, well, sort of an arc that goes across the sky. And I look at around 10 o'clock in the evening on the night of Skynet and see if there's a constellation that I haven't covered recently, and that's how I pick them. So just want to let you know how I pick the constellation of the week. Sagittarius is a mythological creature that is half human and half horse. Sagittarius is an archer as well. Now, most people see Sagittarius, and it looks like a teapot. The amazing thing is that it's a hot teapot. You can see the steam coming out of the spout and spanning the entire sky. The steam is the Milky Way. Slide number 16. The jokes of the week. The reason why you come to visit Skynet every week has got to be the jokes of the week. All right, here you go. Did you hear about the man who was hospitalized with 6 plastic horses inside of him? The doctor described his condition as stable. What did the horse say when it fell? I've fallen and I can't giddy up. Oh, come on, these are funny. I hear you laughing, or are you booing and hissing? If you're going to throw something at me, please throw money. How do you know that a horse is sick? Because he's a pony. You know, a little horse. How do you make a small fortune on horse racing? You start with a large fortune. So, what side of the horse has the most hair? Left side, right side, front side, back side? It's actually the outside. Oh, come on, I thought that was funny. So, and the last one, for this part anyway, a horse walks into a bar and the bartender says, "Hey," and the horse says, "Buddy, you read my mind." Slide number 17, please. Usually I like to talk about a few stars on the constellation of the week, but not this week. Sagittarius happens to be in the direction of the center of the Milky Way galaxy. The center of the Milky Way is a black hole with a mass more than 1 million times that of our sun. The constellation of Sagittarius is full of globular clusters, open clusters, nebula, and much more. I'll only talk about one double star, Nuki. Nuki is in the handle of the teapot. A primary star is about 227 light years away from it, shines us at its around second magnitude. The spectroscopic secondary star is a binary, is too close to be seen visually. But there is a close-by 9th magnitude star that for astronomy students at Brookhaven, they observe it as a visual binary. Slide number 18, please. M8 is the famous Lagoon Nebula. It's easily visible to the naked eye from a dark sky site. M8 is obviously a nebula, and even the smallest instruments, binoculars, finder scopes, and small aperture telescopes. The associated open cluster, NGC 6530, is easily seen in small telescopes as well. The nebulosity appears weakest around the cluster. Slide number 19. M20 is the Triffid Nebula. What makes this object famous for a lot of people is it's one of the pictures used on the bridge of the Starship Enterprise. If you were watching MTV recently, you just saw that. On the original Star Trek TV show, it's one of the pictures. You can see the nebulosity, both the lighter red emission nebula and the fainter blue reflection nebula, but it's hard to see the dark dust lanes that are streaked across the emission nebula through moderate telescopes. With averted vision, you can just barely start to see some of the dark lanes. As Dave Hutchinson writes, so aptly points out in the Spectrum News letter article, that M20 contains all 3 types of nebula: emission, reflection, and dark nebula. Slide number 20, please. M17 is the Swan or Omega Nebula. The nebula's Swan appearance is easy to make out. As one happy and thrilled observer on the upper field at the recent Texas Star Party shouted out for all to hear, it really does look like a swan. The brightest part of the nebula makes a shape much like a check mark. The name Omega Nebula comes from the curved portion of the nebula. It forms the next swan and head. Some observers have likened this to the curve shape in the Greek letter Omega. Slide number 21, please. M22 is a beautiful globular cluster. That is what a globular cluster is supposed to look like. It resolves into dozens of stars easily seen at just 41 power through a telescope. A high-powered view is a visual treat with the core almost totally resolved and many bright individual stars visible. M22 is one of the showcase globular clusters, along with M13, M5, 47, Cancari, and Omega Centaur, of course. There are so many globular clusters that we could talk about, like M54, M70, M69, M28, M55, M75, and much more, but I'm afraid that would take up another 20 minutes of our precious time on Skynet, so let me move on to just one more object, the Planetary Nebula. Slide number 22, please. NGC 6818, or the Little Jim Nebula, is a nice planetary nebula. Unlike many planetary nebulas look star-like at low power, this Little Jim is fairly obvious. At high power, it is a round and gray and hint of some faint outer wisps. It is large enough and bright enough that it has earned a place in the Astronomical League Observing Club. And this is KF5JJ, and this is Skynet. Slide number 23, please. There are more Astronomical League Observing Program objects in the constellation of Sagittarius the Centaur. I'm just giving you a sampling of some of those objects. The Astronomical League has over 70 different observing programs, most of which have around 100 objects. So if you observe just 10 different objects in an observing program each month, then you can earn an observing certificate and a pin in about a year. Number 24, please, on the slide deck, and that is Miss Carolyn's Constellation of the Week, Sagittarius the Centaur. I want to thank my friends Dave Hutchinson and Dennis Harwell for the research and words on deep sky objects that I've used, borrowed, and steal for tonight. I also at times use the website constellation-guide.com for information. Next time, I'll take a look at Lyra, the lyre or harp. And this is KF5JJ sending you back to our night control. Hope you got a breather through this. Thanks, everyone. Have a good night.
Thank you, Chas. And this is KE5ICX. We're going to jump down to recent astronomical discoveries. That would be Brenda, WB5OZL. What do you have for us this evening from KE5ICX?
Thank you, Tom. This is WB5OZL. The title of this is Black Hole Size Revealed by Its Eating Pattern. The feeding patterns of black holes offer insight into their size, researchers report. A new study revealed that the flickering and the brightness observed in actively feeding supermassive black holes is related to their mass. Supermassive black holes are millions to billions of times more massive than the sun, and usually reside at the center of massive galaxies. When dormant and not feeding on the gas and stars surrounding them, SMBHs emit very little light. The only way astronomers can detect them is through their gravitational influences on stars and gas in their vicinity. However, in the early universe, when SMBHs were rapidly growing, they were actively feeding or accreting materials at intensive rates and emitting an enormous amount of radiation, sometimes outshining the entire galaxy in which they reside, researchers said. The new study, led by the University of Illinois Champaign astronomy graduate student Colin Burke and Professor Yus Shen uncovered a definitive relationship between the mass of actively feeding SMBHs and the characteristic timescale in the light flickering pattern. The findings are published in the journal Science. The observed light from an accreting SMBH is not constant. Due to physical processes that are not yet understood, it displays a ubiquitous flickering over time scales ranging from hours to decades. There have been many studies that explored possible relations of the observed flickering and the mass of the SMBH, but the results have been inconclusive and sometimes controversial, Burke said. The team compiled a very large data set of actively feeding SMBHs to study the variability pattern of flickering. They identified a characteristic timescale over which the pattern changes that tightly correlates with the mass of the SMBH. The researchers then compare the results with accreting white dwarfs, the remnants of stars like our sun, and found that the same timescale mass relation holds, even though white dwarfs are millions to billions times less massive than SMBHs. The light flickers are random fluctuations in a black hole's feeding process, the researchers said. Astronomers can quantify this flickering pattern by measuring the power of the variability as a function of timescales. For accreting SMBHs, the variability pattern changes from short timescales to long timescales. This transition of variability pattern happens at a characteristic timescale that is longer for more massive black holes. The team compared black hole feeding to our eating and drinking activity by equating this transition to a human belch. Babies frequently burp while drinking milk, while adults can hold in the burp for a more extended amount of time. Black holes kind of do the same thing while feeding, they said. These results suggest that the processes during the flickering during accretion are universal, whether the central object is a supermassive black hole or a much more lightweight white dwarf, Shen said. The firm establishment of a connection between the observed light flicker and fundamental properties of the accretor will certainly help us better understand accretion processes, said Yanfei Ji Yang, a researcher at the Flatiron Institute and study co-author. Astrophysical black holes come in a broad spectrum of mass and size. In between the population of stellar mass black holes, which weigh less than several tens of times the mass of the Sun, and SMBHs, there's a population of black holes called intermediate mass black holes that weigh between about 100 and 100,000 times the mass of the Sun. IMBHs are expected to form in large numbers through the history of the universe, and they may provide seeds necessary to grow into SMBHs later. However, observationally, this population of IMBHs is surprisingly elusive. There's only one indisputably confirmed IMBH that weighs about 150 times the mass of the Sun, but that IMBH was serendipitously discovered by the gravitational wave radiation from the coalescence of two less massive black holes. Now that there is a correlation between the flickering pattern and the mass of the central accreting object, we can use it to predict what the flickering signal for an IMBH might look like, Burke said. Astronomers worldwide are waiting for the official kickoff of an era of massive surveys that monitor the dynamic and variable sky. The Vera C. Rubin Observatory in Chile's Legacy Survey of Space and Time will survey the sky over a decade and collect light flickering data for billions of objects starting in late 2023. Mining the LSST data set to research for flickering patterns that are consistent with accreting IMBHs has the potential to discover and fully understand this long-sought mysterious population of black holes, said co-author Jin Liu, an astronomy professor at U of I. This study is a collaboration with astronomy and physics professor Charles Gami and astronomy postdoctoral researcher Qian Yang, the Illinois Center for Advanced Study of the Universe, and researchers at the University of California, Santa Barbara, the University of St. Andrews, UK, and Flatiron Institute, University of Southampton, UK, United States Naval Academy, and the University of Durham, UK. Burke, Shen, and Liu are all affiliated with the Center for Astrophysical Surveys at the National Center for Supercomputing Applications at Illinois, the National Science Foundation, the Science and Technology Council, and Illinois Graduate Survey Science Fellowship supported this research. All right, I am done. WB, is that all?
All right, thank you, Brenda. And this is KE5ICX Net Control. We do have a brief respite coming up at 10:30. That will be the late traffic net. They are coming over to our repeater for a short time since the Irving repeater, 2-meter repeater, is down right now. So I will take any final check-ins this evening and give them some breathing room. Does anyone have anything, I should say, does anybody else want to check into the net or have any final comments? Please come to your call sign name, where you're transmitting from.
Kilo India 5, India Kilo Charlie, Alex in Arlington.
Okay, I got one final check-in. I got KI5IKC. That'd be Alex out of Arlington. Welcome, Alex. Glad you were here. Tonight we had 24 hams participating on the air, and thanks to all who checked in. We'll join us here next week and every Saturday night at 9 p.m. to help to discuss astronomy, space exploration, because on this net, the sky is never the limit. We're always looking for net control stations for this and all the DARC nets. If you'd like to try your hand at this, contact any of the net controls by sending an email to nets@w5fc.org. You can follow topics, discussion on this net and astronomy in general on Facebook, Twitter, as well as our audio and video streams, video archives, and other useful internet resources by going to the club website, which is Whiskey 5 Fried Chicken. That's w5fc.org at the conclusion of this net. Till next Saturday night, this is Kilo Echo 5, India Charlie X-Ray Tom. I'll be closing the net at 22:27 local time, returning the repeater to normal amateur use. We'll be back in about 15 minutes for tonight's Afterglow movie net, which is, what is it called? Oh, yes, Stardate Continuum. But first we'll do the late traffic net, however long that takes. Somebody think about who's going to be net control. I have some ideas, and I'll chorus you behind the scenes. 7-3, everybody, and enjoy the evening discovering the universe. We'll be back in about 15-20 minutes. KE5ICX, I'm clear.
Normal state.
KE5YJ. Is it okay if I use this repeater for the nets this evening? KE5YJ.
By all means, go ahead. We've carved out time for you, so please go ahead. This is KE5ICX.
Well, I thank you, Tom. I appreciate it very much. Yeah, the other repeater's still down.
I'm completely operational.
I appreciate
all my
y'all
circuits are functioning perfectly.
Afterglow movie net.
Roger, go ahead with the net. I think you got covered over by the announcement.
All right, sir. Thank you very much. This is K5YTA, and I'll be your net control for the station of the DFW Metro Coast Lake Traffic Net. This net is a local affiliate of the ARL's National Traffic System, and our purpose is to move traffic into and out of the DFW area through the NTS. We also like to provide training to those stations interested in traffic handling, and we welcome all licensed stations to participate. This is a directed net, therefore please do not transmit without direction from net control. We ask that you use ITU phonetics and please ID at the end of all transmissions. Stations need to check out the net. You do so by rechecking with net control, indicating the need to secure, and also indicating what should be done with any illicit traffic. Stations with emergency or priority traffic may enter the net at any time using the pro sign, break, followed by their call sign. Are there any stations with emergency or priority traffic? Do I have an alternate net control station this evening? Well, check out our liaison station if you have any. Is everybody from the Texas CW net? How about the Texas traffic net?
Kilo India 5, Gulf Romeo Hotel.
Cat 5 GRHK, Melissa. Thanks for taking TTN. Do you have any traffic?
Well, good evening. It's really cool to be over here tonight. I have one net report, and that's it. KI5GRH.
All right, get you down with one net report, and if somebody checks in, we'll get that moved along. Thank you very much for stopping by. Do you have anybody from the 1790 traffic net? Do we have a digital rep?
Alpha 5, Sierra Alpha.
Hey, if I was there, good evening, Sean. Thanks for stopping by and taking digital. Hope you're doing well. And do you have any traffic?
Good evening to you, Roger, and everybody else in the net. Yes, sir, a little better every day. Thank you so much. And I've got no traffic tonight, AA5SA.
All right, thank you, sir, for stopping by, and I'm glad you're doing good. Do you have anybody going to DFW early tomorrow evening?
Kilo Golf 5, November Alpha.
KG588. Good evening, Corky. Thanks for stopping by. We've got one report for you so far. Do you have any traffic for us?
Hey, good evening, Roger. Thank you for running the net. Appreciate that. Sean's always good to hear from you. I acknowledge the net report. Have no traffic. KG5NNA.
All right, sir. Got you on no traffic, and appreciate you stopping by as well. Last up, do you have any areas or races liaisons from any North Texas county? All right, then we're going to throw it open. We're taking a list of stations wishing to check into tonight's net with traffic and with traffic only. Coming out to call sign phonetically.
Kilo 8 Alpha Mike Hotel.
KMH, good evening, Aaron. Thanks for stopping by. And what traffic?
Oh, hi there. I have one service message to Florida, please. K8AMH.
All right, sir. We've got your one going to Florida, and we'll get that moved here in just a few minutes. Thanks for stopping by. And I'm still looking for any stations that would like to join us, that would like to bring traffic to the net. That's stations with traffic and traffic only. You give you one more chance. Come out to call sign phonetically. KF5YGA, DFW Metro Cluster Lake Traffic Net. We'll go ahead and open it up now for any station that would like to join us. If any stations with or without traffic, come in to call sign phonetically.
Kilo India 5, India Kilo Charlie.
Kilo 5, Alpha, November Papa.
November Tango 5, Tango Mike.
All right, KF5IKC, good evening, Alex. Thanks for stopping by, sir. Do you have any traffic?
Good afternoon, sir. I do not have any traffic. Thank you. KF5IKC.
All right, sir. And K5AMP, good evening, Alan. Thank you for stopping by, sir. And do you have any traffic?
Good evening, Roger, and everyone on the net. No traffic. K5AMP.
And NT5TM, good evening, Tony. Thank you for stopping by this evening. And do you have any traffic, sir?
Good evening, Roger. No traffic here. NT5TM.
All right, got you down with no traffic. This is the DFW Metro Cluster Lake Traffic Net. I'd like to take another round of check-ins. If you'd like to join us with or without traffic, come in to call sign phonetically.
Kilo India 5, Romeo Bravo Hotel. Tim, no traffic.
November 5, Bravo, Bravo.
KF5 RBH, good evening, sir. Thank you for joining us. And now that you know traffic, I guess you don't have any more on that. Thank you for stopping by. Got you down with no traffic. And N5BB, thank you, Bill, for stopping by. And do you have any traffic?
Hi, Roger. I have no traffic. Apologize that the Irving 2-meter repeater is on the fritz, but it's got a really mysterious noise, and we just haven't been able to fix it so far remotely. N5BB, no traffic.
All right, sir. Well, thanks for the information. I'm sure y'all will get that other thing running again shortly here, and I appreciate that the Dallas Club is letting you use this repeater for tonight. And I got you down with no traffic. So let's do this real quick. A5SA, please contact KAMH, pick up one going to Florida, sir.
Is that for me, Roger, A5SA?
Yes, sir. Can you handle one going to Florida? If you can, contact KAMH.
Okay, yep, sir, can do that. Dang it, K8AMH, A5SA. Good evening, Aaron. I think I finally have my stuff together. I'm ready to copy.
Okay. A5SA, H on K8AMH. Thanks for grabbing this, and service message, so it's the usual, but thanks for grabbing it so I don't get the big pile like I had at the last time I sent these. Let's start this one off. Number 979er, routine Kilo 8, Alpha Mike Hotel 6, Dallas, Texas, August 15. Frank, Rab, I spell Romeo Alpha Alpha Bravo, amateur call, Kilo 4, Foxtrot Hotel Romeo, address figures 1413, Golf, I spell Golf Uniform Lima Foxtrot, Coast, Drive, Naples, Florida, zip figures 34110, break.
All right, my fingers are still completely numb, so you're going to have to slow down a little bit. I need Frank's call sign and his zip code, please.
All right, you got a call sign, Kilo 4, Foxtrot Hotel Romeo, and zip figures 34110.
Okay, no phone?
Yeah, that's right. He sent a bunch, so I'm assuming he's on the system.
No worries, sir. Go tech.
Received figures 590 August. Figures 12 mixed group 0007 Zulu. Figures 73 break.
All right, sir. Go with signature.
This will be surprising. It's signed Aaron. Amateur call. Kilo 8 Alpha Mike Hotel. It's N979. No more. How copy?
Roger, your 979er. Thank you very much for the traffic, sir. AA5SA.
I think it was K8AMH.
And thank you, Chief, for moving that traffic along this evening. This is K5YTA DFW Met Cluster Lake Traffic in. Taking another round of check-ins. Any stations like to join us with the route traffic, come in to call sign phonetically.
November 5 Sierra, Quebec Alpha.
N5SQA, good evening, Ron. Thanks for stopping by, sir. And do you have any traffic?
Good evening, Roger, and everybody else. No traffic tonight, just checking in. N5SQA.
All right, sir. Thanks for stopping by and got you down with no traffic. We appreciate you stopping by. Are there any stations with announcements or both of this evening? All right, then. KG589, please contact KI5GRH and pick up one net report for your station.
All right, KI5, GRH, KG5, NNA. Melissa, good evening. I'm ready to copy your net report.
Good evening, Corky, Cat5GRH. Please copy 7905 routine, Kilo India 5, Golf Romeo Hotel, 12, Dallas, Texas, August 15. Going to your station, break.
You can go with text.
Initials Delta Foxtrot Whiskey, late, 8/12/8/0/12, Golf Romeo Hotel, /NCS, November Alpha, early, November 5, Bravo Bravo, Mike Golf Mike, Alpha Papa, Juliet Alpha Lima, November Tango 5, Tango Mike, India Mike Sierra, figure 73, break.
And go with signature.
Please sign that, Melissa. Amateur call, Kilo India 5, Golf Romeo Hotel, N7905. No more.
All right, Melissa, copy number 795. Thank you very much for your service. Appreciate your report. AG5 NNA.
Thank you for taking it. KF5GRH.
And thanks to both of y'all for moving that traffic along the sea. Appreciate it very much. This is K5YTA DFW Metro Cluster Lake Traffic Net. Still looking for additional check-ins. If you'd like to join us with or without traffic, come out your call sign phonetically. Still looking for more check-ins. Any station like to join us with or without traffic, please come now. All right, looks like we have no more people wanting to check in, so we'll go ahead and wrap it up. So this is the final call. Any stations like to join us with or without traffic, come out your call sign phonetically. If nothing else, the third will be final call. Hearing nothing further, that will conclude this session of the DFW Metrical Select Traffic Net. All stations are invited to call us on the air following the net if you have any questions. You can find out more information about this net and how to contact the net managers and the ARRL Section Traffic Manager by visiting our website at www.dfwtrafficnet.org. Early edition of Traffic Net will meet tomorrow at 18:30 on the W5SC repeater, which is at 146.88 megahertz with a PL tone of 110.9. And this net will meet again tomorrow evening, hopefully at 22:30 on the W85CKF repeater if it's fixed. If not, it'll be on this repeater, and it'll have a different net control. I'd like to thank all stations for their participation, and thanks to Irving Amateur Radio Club for the use of their repeater, which is not true. But I would like to thank the Dallas Amateur Radio Club for giving us time tonight to run this net. And this W5SC repeater. And this is Kilo Echo 5 Yankee Tango Alpha, closing tonight's net at 22:46 local time, and returning the repeater back to the Dallas Amateur Radio Club for their late night net. Everybody have a great evening and have a great week. K5YGA.
Thank you, Roger. And very good. Exactly 15 minutes. You couldn't do it any better. This is KE5ICX. I'm not your net control, but your net control is powdering their nose. There could be two net controls. Who knows? At any rate, I'll go ahead and give you a synopsis of tonight's Afterglow Movie Net. So what is the Afterglow Movie Net? Very simply, we're assigned a movie, and during the week we get a chance to watch that movie, and then we get to tear it apart or build it up, whatever it takes. Usually it's a science fiction film, although occasionally we deviate from that, but it's very, very rare. We do have a science fiction film this evening, Stargate Continuum from 2008. This is based on the Stargate SG-1 television series. So I'm going to go ahead and give that information while everybody else is trying to recoup. And I just lost my pen. I got another one right here. I have over 100 pens. Your net control actually sent me like 100 pens. Literally, he did. Okay, let me break for a sec. So let me tell you about Stargate. Doing it again, Stargate Continuum. Yes, I'm a Star Trek fan, so it's Stargate, not Stargate. Did I watch Stargate? Yes, I did a few episodes, but I wasn't totally into it like a lot of other people were. But here it is. This was a science fiction direct-to-video film from the Stargate franchise. It's the second sequel to the television series SG-1, The Ark of Truth. It is directed by Martin Wood, director and producer of many episodes of SG-1 and Stargate Atlantis. The film is a time travel adventure in which Baal, I don't know who that guy is, travels back to 1939 to create an alternate timeline in which the Earth never establishes their Stargate program and to take control of the Globular Empire. The only people to remember the truth, the SG-1 team attempts to reinstate the original timeline. The film stars the main cast of the show's last season with the return of Richard Dean Anderson as Jack O'Neill. Continuum has garnered generally positive reviews from critics, earning both praise and criticism for its atmosphere, story, characters, and graphic content. The production budget was at $7 million, but the film grossed about $8 million, less than the previous film, which grossed $13 million. The film was released on both DVD and Blu-ray in the U.S. and MGM's home media market. Let's see here. So here's the plot. Let me read some of it. SG-1 and Jack O'Neill attend a Tok'ra extraction ceremony at Baal, last of the Globe system lords. Baal claims, however, that he is merely the last clone and that the real Baal has the fail-safe plan. The real Baal travels back in time to 1939 Earth, kills and massacres the crew of the Achilles, the ship carrying the Stargate to the United States. The captain lives long enough to drop the bomb. Baal left overboard to keep the ship from being destroyed. In the present, people objects start disappearing, including Vala, Maldoran, and Talak. Jack is killed by a clone, but Samantha Carter, Daniel Jackson, and Cameron Mitchell reach the Stargate. They're surprised to emerge inside the derelict Achilles, which has drifted to the Arctic. Bow's actions have created a timeline in which the Stargate program never happened. After escaping the sinking Achilles, they are rescued by a team led by Colonel Jack O'Neill. Although General Landry believes their story, after intensive interrogation, they're denied permission to change the timeline. In the alternate timeline, Daniel is still trying to convince people about his theories of the pyramids. Carter died in a space shuttle accident. Mitchell does not exist at all because his grandfather was the Achilles captain. Dun dun dun. The three are forced by the authorities to lead separate lives with no contact allowed between them. I think one of them has to go to Canada. Boy, how boring. A year passes. The SG-1 is called back into action when Gao's scout ships appear. Baal has brought the other system lords under his control and now stands ready to conquer the Earth. With Tesh still residing in Vala's body, as is Queen Tilk is first prime, SG-1 is brought to President Henry Hayes and General George Hammond, who informed them that, based on SG-1 accounts, they have recovered the Antarctic Southgate, Stargate, and there was a Southgate, it was the Southgate Mall in Michigan, and are excavating the Antarctic ancient outpost to reach the weapon that saved Earth in the original time frame. SG-1 is sent in F-15s to McMurdo Station to gate to Pocrestiones, another ancient outpost to retrieve the zero-point module to power the Antarctic. Oh, this is going on. Okay. Above Earth, Baal's armada arrives. To the displeasure of his subordinates and other system lords, Baal announces they will treat the jury relatively leniently. Suspicious about Baal's thorough knowledge of Earth, Tesh betrays him and forces him to tell her everything. She orders the destruction of McMurdo and the ancient outpost in Baal's name, but she kills Baal when Tiak discovers what she is doing. As Tiak escapes to Alkesh, Tesh orders the fleet to bombard Earth while she goes to secure Baal's time machine. I'm sorry, I didn't write this. Somebody else did. When Qualos destroy the Antarctic Stargate, SG-1 is rerouted to Russia, and the Russians had retrieved the Achilles Stargate from the ocean floor. Tiak arrives at the facility as well, seeking to use the Stargate to reach the time machine before Tesh. These two sides agree to truce and get Baal's time machine and underground supercomputer connected to the hundreds of satellites that monitor solar flares from the various stars. I promise this is almost over. That could intersect a wormhole created by the Stargate. The flares are necessary for time travel. SG-1 must wait for the right flare in order to journey to the right time to link contested troops attack. They are forced to dial the Stargate to the year 1929, 10 years before their desired target date. Sam and Daniel are killed in the firefight, and only Mitchell passes through the Stargate. Tiak, mortally wounded, blows himself and Kitesh up. After a decade of waiting, Mitchell stows away on the Achilles and kills Baal and his troops when they come aboard through the Stargate. The now restored timeline, SG-1, completely unaware of the previous events, watch the extraction proceed without incident. On Earth, Daniel wonders what Baal meant by his fail-safe. In other words, an opening to another movie. Okay, I've read whatever this was. I don't even know who these people are. But in any case, it made $2 million, so it can't be too terrible. So I'll ask, who wants to be Kitesh or Baal or, I don't know, the captain of the Achilles? I know somebody wants to be. Who wants to be the captain of the Achilles? Please step forward. This is KE5ICX.
This is KI5JCM. Can I just be Jack in a better movie?
signal's a little weak, but I've kind of got you. So please stand by. I'm looking for somebody who wants to be net control. Michael?
Brenda said she would do it if I sent her a tiara, so I'm looking for tiaras.
You're hired. And no, I never really watched SG-1, so I'm confused by all these characters. So you're it. I gave you the synopsis, so now you can tell them the rules of the game. This is KE5ICX.
The rules of there are rules to this game? Wait, hold on. I gotta talk to Tom about these alleged rules.
Am I doing this or Michael? This is WB50ZL.
Thanks for volunteering. I'm still looking for tiaras.
The first rule of AftergloNet is there are no rules.
Oh, there are rules. We just break them all the time.
Go, Brenda. You can do it.
All right, I'm going to push on here. This is WB50ZL, and this is the rule. You have to follow regular ham radio convention, like you have to use your call sign and your name, and then we would like to know where you are and where you're transmitting from, and whether or not you saw the movie. And once we get everybody checked in, then we're going to go around and talk about various aspects of this movie. So let's take general check-ins first. Please come down.
November Tango 5 Tango Mike. Tony in Dallas.
Kilo Golf 5 Bravo Zulu with J. They're well over it. I've seen it.
Kilo Echo 5, India Charlie X-Ray, Tom in Louisville. I think I saw it. I'm not sure what I did, but I did see it.
AI5DY, Alpha India 5, Delta Yankee, Bill Garland, saw the movie.
Kilo Bravo 9, Sierra Oscar Kilo, Sean in Fort Worth. Yes, I've seen the movie.
Kilo India Charlie Mike, Thomas, and Euless. I've seen the movie, but it was several years ago.
Whiskey Tango 9er Victor, Michael in Plano. Yes, I saw the movie.
November 5 Sierra Quebec Alpha. I've seen movies, but not this one.
Kilo 0 Foxtrot Echo Romeo. Chris in Dallas, and I have not seen this movie.
I5 RBH. This is Tim in Bedford. I have not seen the movie.
Kilo India 5, India Kilo Charlie, Alec in Arlington. I have not seen the movie.
All right, let's stop there. I'm going to need a couple of fills, though. NT5TM, Tony, did you see the movie or no?
I apologize. Yes, I did see the movie, NT5TM.
Very good. KG5BZWJ did see the movie. KE5ICX, Tom doesn't know whether he did. AI5DY, Bill, yes. KB9SOQ, Sean, yes. And then Thomas, you blipped out and I missed your call. Would you please come back? Well, maybe we'll come back to you. WT9V, Michael, yes. N5SQA, I guess that's Ron. No, you didn't. K0FER, Chris, no. KI5RBH, Tim, no. And KI5IKC, Charlie, no. Do we have any Echo Link check-ins? Any other check-ins at all? Okay, let's dive in. Tony, you're first, NT5TM. Tell us about the plot.
Well, I have to admit, I wouldn't give this an Oscar and I wouldn't give it an Emmy, but the plot was engaging and enjoyable. This was just a fun piece of television. The signal, great moment of the plot to me, was just when our protagonists had all been transported to the ultimate timeline and were trying to, talk to General so-and-so, talk to Colonel this. Hey, your kid was eaten by a whale, right? Just how irritated and incredulous everyone. Yeah, was. Yes, maybe, okay, you're from some alternate universe. But you know what? Just go get a job at a 7-Eleven or something. We don't have time to deal with this. We have other things to do. I thought that was just an amazingly realistic piece of plot that most movies overlook. The fact that even if you are the savior of the world from an entirely different universe, we're all too busy for this kind of stuff right now. Please go away. Go have a cup of coffee or something. So, amusingly for a science fiction movie, I thought the plot was very realistic in a human sense. They kept things moving. I had a great time. I enjoyed it. NT5TM.
Okay, KG5BZWJ, plot.
This is KG5BZW. The plot of the movie. I don't know. It's one of those things that where I've always had. I generally have a distaste for timeline things, and even though this is kind of interesting, and it's got the alternate universe and all that stuff, or alternate timeline, or whatever. It just I can't. I don't know what to say. I generally like. Actually, I have to admit, I generally like the actors that have been in Stargate, and I consider this, I guess this extension series or whatever, Farscape Stargate, because of the actors that were in Farscape. And I don't know. I have to admit, I'm kind of interested more into that series now. Maybe I'll if I'm ever really wanting to watch some sort of a show, series or something. I've got a lot of back well, not what's the word I'm trying to say? A list of a series that I kind of want to watch already in a few places, those streaming services online. I might add to it, but kind of distracting from the flyer. Let me reset. It was, as much as I like the actors and everything, I have to admit it was just a little bit too much. Just how, even though they acknowledge that, they just can't really be bothered, with these new guys that really shouldn't exist, and yet they do exist, and that's the fact interesting in itself. That is one, I agree with Tony, that's one point that they did get, but other stuff, I know. I have to admit that even though it's a common sci-fi trope, okay, if the past is changed underneath you, then people start disappearing and stuff like that, weird stuff. But I'm just already turned off by that. So, I enjoyed it because I have some what's the word I want to say? I had the word in my mind. I have some like for that, but there's a better word than that. I don't know. I endured it. It was okay. It was not bad. There's a lot of ways it could have been a lot worse. It flowed. That's all I can say. KQ5 BCW.
Okay, KE5 ICX, go ahead.
All right, thank you, Brenda. Yeah, I'm kind of at a disadvantage here, too. I was not a Stargate fan in the sense that I was watching it every week. I've probably seen maybe a half a dozen of the episodes, so when they go into the characters and they get really deep into the characters and who they are, and their reactions in that, at least from the standpoint of I don't know who they are, I was having a little trouble with that. I know that's characterization and all that. From the standpoint of a plot, it was entertaining. I agree. It has the old conundrum. What do you do if you kill your, you kill your father, and then do you still exist and all that? And there were some touching moments at the end when one of the characters re-engages his father, who is the captain of the Achilles. So that was kind of interesting. This show, if I remember correctly, has a lot with shooting, pew pew pew, and that's okay. And there was a lot of that. I like the F-15s; they were fun, and blowing the guys up very much like what was it, Independence Day type stuff, which I think they borrowed heavily from. That was okay. The submarine stuff was kind of cool. I like that. I think that was really on a real submarine because everything about it looked real. Wherever they did that, I guess it was a weekend or something. Everybody was on shore leave, and they had like 4 crew members on board. That was okay, and all that. They had the guy who plays the I can't talk about that. That's the characterization. But what can I say? No nosebleeds, I guess, but that's okay. People disappearing after timeline changes, we've seen that in everything you can imagine. I say 1939, and I'm thinking Edith Keeler and her death, which I think was the same year, now that I think about it. I wonder if she affected this timeline. Let me reset. So this whole backstory with going back and doing this, let's return back to the future and being able to run everything from your pyramid spaceship with the lights. Okay, fine. What does that pyramid do? Why is that important? I just don't know. I know it's love, with the movie and everything. It just kind of looks ungainly. I wouldn't want one of those in my living room. Let me go look. And I am looking. No, I don't have one in my living room. So, what does that serve to do and why? And I just get confused by that. The story was exciting. I guess people liked it. I found it somewhat engaging, although I was confused most of the time because I really wasn't sure what the heck was going on. I know the time travel thing and all of that, but how do the characters act and react and why? I didn't have motivations because, well, geez, I didn't know the background of the characters. But I should be talking about that next time around. But I guess because when it comes to plot, I don't know what's going on. I really don't. And who all those people are. Okay, I'm going to stop here because I'm not sure what to say. 1939 was cool. Back to net control, KE5I6.
Okay, AI5DY. Bill, go ahead.
Okay, I won't say a whole lot. I'm going to do this one and this one only because I'm running on about 3 hours sleep in 48-hour time period. Good. I like the movie. I like the plot. I was not a big Stargate fan when I saw the original movie, and I never got into the series, but I liked this movie and how they had to go back in time and stop the Gould leader, and it kind of has made me want to go back and revisit Stargate, so I intend on doing that. With that, I'm going to let you guys tell me a bedtime story, and I'll turn it back over to net control, AI5DY.
Okay, KB9SOQ, Sean.
Yeah, this is KB9SOK. It was a decent movie, but it is true. If you haven't watched the series, you're going to be very lost in a lot of these subtle responses, and this was really almost a reunion of the old SG-1 team and the new SG-1 team. And it was during that transition period, right after that it kind of happened in the series when this was made. That was kind of interesting. Personally, yes, I actually do enjoy the Stargate series. I felt that it was unique in the sci-fi universe and different because of just how they got around, and I did enjoy it. As far as this movie goes, all in all, it was fun to see the old and new. But I'd say the only part that I was really disappointed with was just they took forever during the one section to kind of do the flashback of the SG-1 team telling all their stories to the government, what had been going on, and that seemed like that went on for 20 minutes. So that part was kind of a snooze fest during that part, because it seemed the series, it was stuff you're already familiar with. I think they kind of did it to maybe help out for those that hadn't seen it, but I think that was a little bit of a waste. To me, this just felt like a really good regular season episode that was just extended. It was still good. I do like the fact that this is one of those times that they actually did explain how they did the time travel. In most of the movies we see, they rarely ever give you any real, science, even though we know this is pretty bogus, but still, at least they had an explanation this time of the gates and passing through the wormhole and going through a solar flare, so at least they had a reason. So that was good. And, we have kind of seen this plot before, going back in time to change, history. I would like to see something a little more original than that, but all still wasn't bad. So yeah, all in all, I thought it was decent for a movie based on a TV show and kind of a continuation to move that story. So back to Net Control, this is KB9SOK.
Okay, KB9SOK. Sorry I messed up your call sign. Next up, Thomas, but I'd missed your call earlier. Are you there?
KI5, GSAM, still here. My comment's short. I never liked Mitchell. The series jumped the shark when they brought him on. And this was the attempt to try to put a closing on it, but generally not a fan of time travel stuff and established continuity. It's an old trope. So, yeah. About all I got. KI5, GSAM, back to Net.
All right. Whiskey Tango Niner Victor. Michael.
Oh, that's me. I have nothing prepared, so I'll just wing it. Cause, well, you know. All right, yeah. I don't. I was giving Tom a bad time about, you know, mangling all the weirdly pronounced names, but then I realized that he never saw the show. So, all right, go watch the show. The show's good. The original movie and how many years of show and several movies after that. It's an entertaining thing. So, what can you say about a movie that is just set in a well-defined universe? It doesn't take the time to do all of the establishment, the introduction of characters, all this other kind of stuff, because we already know who everybody is. So, you know, for somebody like Tom who never really watched the show, this means nothing. It's just it makes no sense. But so the pyramids were, to answer your question, the pyramids were landing spots for those funny ships that were in orbit that were also shaped like pyramids, and they would settle down on top of the pyramids over in Egypt and a few other places because they were just landing pads for them, which explains why they look the way they do. I don't know. It's a TV show. Either you liked the TV show or you didn't like the TV show. If you liked the TV show, you liked the movie for the most part. And if you didn't know the TV show, then nothing made sense. So, WT9V, back to that.
Okay, N5SQA. Ron, do you have anything to say?
Good evening. I mostly just lurk on this net. I enjoy hearing my fellow citizens and hams talk about things they're passionate about. I spent the early evening down in Deep Ellum listening to one of my longtime, all-time guitar heroes, and I'm uploading those long videos to Dropbox so I can share. But I enjoy listening to you guys talk about movies. Every once in a while I watch one, but not tonight. Thank you. I'm done. N5SQA.
Okay, thank you. K0FER, Chris, I hope that call's right. You didn't see it, but do you have anything to say?
Nothing really to say. Didn't see it and just listen. K0FER.
Okay, then KI5RBH. Tim, do you have anything to add?
Nothing to add, just staying by and listening and enjoying the conversation. KI5 RDH.
Alright, well, any of you can jump in later if you have a thought on this. KI5IKC, Charlie.
Hi, good afternoon again. Name is Alex, over here in Arlington. Yeah, unfortunately I hadn't seen the movie, and I'm just kind of spotty on checking it out, but it's up to actually watch it. Let me reset. But yeah, no, definitely this movie sounds interesting. I like the premise of the triangles, pyramids being used as landing zones, and I always love a good timeline movie where they always have to go back to redo something that failed to happen or they thought failed to happen, and I don't know, maybe it's a constant cycle. So maybe the movie just continues on. I'm not sure. I'm curious to see how it ends out, if anybody covers that. But yeah, I'll be listening in. KI5IKC.
Very good. Okay, we're at the end, so it's my turn. I watched the original movie, liked it, and then I watched pretty much the entire series on TV for a long time. I kind of gave up after a while, sort of burned out. Didn't see this movie before. I enjoyed it immensely because I like the series, the concept, the characters. You know, they've been doing this a long time, and they all work together well. They got a lot of good interaction with each other, and it's a tried and true idea. You know, somebody changes things, you have to go back in time to change it back. And of course, it's a pretty desperate situation usually because if you don't succeed, then everything's really messed up. So that adds a lot of tension to the story. I did find the story a little bit hard to follow here and there, especially in about the first half of the movie. I wasn't quite sure what was going on or what had happened, but it all kind of came out in the end. So, okay. Any other check-ins? Hearing none, we'll start at the top. We're going to talk about characterization. NT5TM Tony.
Well, it's been great to hear everybody. I will admit that I saw the original movie in theaters and then never watched the series and then saw this. So I did find it kind of confusing. And while I did find the plot genuinely entertaining and I thought there were some really good human elements, the characters to me depended a little much on things I didn't know because I'd never seen the series and didn't know who was supposed to be enslaving whom or why. Oh, look, someone stuck a sword in somebody else. How interesting. That said, Brenda, to echo something you said, the one character note I appreciated was the teamwork. The people who seemed to be from the original timeline or main timeline or whatever situation normal was, they really did do a good job of acting like characters who worked together and trusted one another and just counted on one another. And they did genuinely seem confused when someone would reappear from, oh, wait, you're from the other timeline, but you already know me. That was the one good note about characterization. I don't know who these people are, and I haven't built up all the faith in their relationships, and I don't feel confused where I'm supposed to feel confused and all that. In fact, I just felt confused most of the time. But it was well done, the way the characters were genuinely befuzzled that the world wasn't what they expected. That was the good note of the whole characterization and human element of this. So I appreciated that. I'm sure I didn't know enough to appreciate more, but that's what I got out of it. NT5TM.
Okay, KG5BZWJ, go ahead. Characters.
Oh, this is KG5BZW. Characters, yeah, it's one of those things I feel like we do need to get deep into the universe to understand. And as I mentioned before, I hadn't really seen this part of the series. Although I guess to be honest, I've been always a little bit curious just because I like Ben Browder and Claudia Black. I thought they did a great job in Farscape, so I was kind of curious to see how them work together in another series. So, and I've always, the earlier episodes with some of those the standard characters. I don't have IMDb right in front of me. I wasn't think about them. I don't know what else to say. It's really weird to comment on characterization when it is part of a TV series and you just haven't seen it, so I think I'm just going to avoid it right now. Yeah, I don't know that I can add anything to that hasn't already been said, so I'm heading to the next person, KG5BZW, back to that.
KE5ICX, Tom, go ahead.
Oh, geez, characterization. I was told that contractions are easy. I think. Teal'c? Is that his name? Bow is another. What else we got in this thing? Apophis. Apophis? Okay, fine. Well, I can pronounce President Henry Haynes, or Henry Haynes, not Harry. Speaking of Harry Truman. President Henry Haynes. Hayes. Okay, here's the problem with all of this. I don't know who any of these people are. I know who Bo Bridges is. Major General Henry Hank Landry, I can see that. We got Claudia Black as Vala Maldoran and Jitesh. Oh, she played two roles? I didn't even know that. I never would have guessed it. I don't know who these people are. I really don't. So I really don't have any emotional vested interest in them. So that's kind of the way it is. There was sort of a thing with, this Colonel Mitchell on the Antilles. That was okay. I guess that was fine. And who was it? Jackson's father. There was that moment with the two of them together in the picture. The one in the picture, and then the two of them in the same picture later on. Even got the crease in between. I caught that part. I did get that. That was pretty cool. Other than that, I don't know who these people are. Back net control. This is KE5ICX.
Okay, AI5DY. Bill, go ahead. All right, he's not here. So KB9SOK, Sean.
Yeah, this is KB9SOK. Yeah, the characters were definitely true to how they worked this series, which was good. So yeah, once again, as everybody said, if you haven't seen the series, you're probably not going to enjoy this movie, and you're not going to get the little subtle jokes between the different characters and the nuances and the backstories and what have you. So yeah, no, the characters were definitely true. They continued where they left off, so it was played well. All in all, I think it was definitely kept to as it should have with the series. There was obviously, we've seen where they talked about his father and what have you, so we learned a little more of his backstory. Now this is, I kind of agree with the comment that was made earlier that this was when they came on with the new, when Jack O'Neill left the series, more or less, quote unquote, got promoted to general there. That's kind of when the show went downhill, and I personally kind of started to lose interest in it too. And I think that was like year 7 or 8. The series, I think, was on for like 10 years, so it did go a long time. But all in all, yeah, no, the teamwork has always been a major focus of this series. They've never really had, quote unquote, one person that was the hero, and it was always the one that solved it. That was one nice thing about the show, that most of the characters did get very equal time throughout the series, and they did in this movie as well, which was very nice. The one kind of the characterization, and kind of going back to the plot a little bit, I never understood, well, I understood it, but, they made the comment that, they took these characters in the alternate timeline and basically just sent them off to live regular lives, which, I would think that, especially if they made the comment they'd been exposed to all this alien technology, and especially Samantha Carter. I would think in real life, if this had really happened, they would have locked her in a basement someplace and would have been sucking all the knowledge they possibly could out of her, especially since she had all this advanced technology. So that part was kind of it was kind of weird. I'm pretty sure, as far as her character goes, they would have utilized her, because quote unquote she was our professor of the series, the one that usually solved all the tech issues. So that part was a little off for me, but yeah, all in all, it held true. Not a lot else to say. Back to net control, KB9SOK.
Okay. KI5 GCM Thomas. I think he's gone. WT9V, Michael.
Where did I put my microphone? Oh, there it is. Yeah, I don't have a whole lot to say because, as others have said, either you get the characters or you don't get the characters, and it's not a good movie for somebody to watch that isn't in the Stargate universe, because none of it's going to make any sense, because it doesn't have the normal progression of a movie where of course, on the other hand, at least they don't spend half of the movie introducing you to somebody that you already know, like in the first Batman movie. So I'll give this to them, or give that to them, or something. I got a couple of things for the next round, but I'll hand it back to net control at this point. Have a T9V.
Okay. Let's see, that ends our rotation. Do we have anybody who wants to check in?
Kilo India 5, Gulf Romeo Hotel.
Yeah, 5GRH. Melissa, did you see this movie?
I did not, but I've been listening the whole time while cleaning my ham shack. And y'all are good company, so I just thought I'd check in and say hello. Cat 5GRH.
Well, thanks for checking in. All right, it's my turn on characters. Of course, these actors own these characters because they've been doing them for so long. It's fairly predictable, and you know they've got their relationships all nailed down. So yeah, it was well cast because that's who they are. But of course, when you go to a different timeline, you can change the character, and without people wondering why. And of course, obviously they did that some. Let's see. Well, that's about all I have to say about characters. I think it's mostly been said. So let's go back and talk about either special effects or anything else you want to talk about. NT5TM, Tony.
Thank you, Brenda, and thank you for staying up and being net control. Now, usually talking about actors who've been in other series and that kind of actor trivia is Tom's job, but I have to comment on this because I love David Lynch and Aaron and I are Twin Peaks fans. Of course, we mean the original Twin Peaks, not the attempt to revive it. The fellow who played the Air Force general in this show, Don Davis, of course, played an Air Force major in the original Major Briggs, Bobby Briggs' dad, in the original Twin Peaks. Always found it really funny that this guy was in fact an officer in the Army, but his entire working life as an actor revolved around playing an Air Force officer. I don't know, it just somehow amused me. It's basically all he ever did. He was quite good at it, but he was that bald guy who played the Air Force officer. Don Davis, he only made it to being 65 years old, sad to say, but glad to see him here once again. NT5TM.
Okay, KG5BZW. Jay, go ahead.
No other comments. KG5BZW.
Okay, KE5ICX.
Thank you, Brenda. I thought let's talk about special effects in that. I thought they were rather well done, and considering this was a made-for-TV movie, I thought they did really well on that. Of course, 2008, we're talking about the dawn of digital capability to the point where things are starting to look really model stuff was starting to look really good. Now we have virtual sets that have since come since then, but I think the F-15 stuff looked good. Even the spacecraft looked good, although they were somewhat kind of two-dimensional, didn't have all the seasoning you put in, all the stuff that is now just regular in movies and even television series. I thought they did a pretty darn good job overall with it. So I thought that was quite good. I love the submarine stuff. That was on the actual submarine. That looked really great. It's a nice touch for a made-for-TV movie, giving it some authenticity or some gravitas to it. I thought that was really nice. Overall, that was interesting. As a movie that is trying to break out, I thought it looked good. Probably not like what it is today, where any movie looks like, low budget. Actually, it looks pretty darn good with all the special effects. But overall, I think they did a really nice job with that. William Devane, who played President Henry Hayes, by the way, will be the star of next week's movie. We have another one of those connections, segues in from an actor who was in a previous movie who's in next week's movie. So William Devane actually stars, not as president, but as yet another time traveler. And everybody's, slapping their foreheads and going, not again. Yes, but it's a movie you've never seen. Okay, that's it for me. Back to net control, KE5I6.
Yeah, we just can't get enough time travel. Okay, let's see, who would be next? KB9SOK, Sean.
Yeah, this is KB9SOK. Yeah, as mentioned, the special effects were really good for a TV movie. For not having a lot of budget, I thought it worked really good for 2008. Most of the effects they probably actually already had from the TV series. That probably helped with the budget. So a lot of that already been developed, and so that definitely helped it a lot. Yeah, I don't know what it is, but it's just something that's always just the Stargate effect has always just been cool. The rotating ring, the sound of it, and then of course then the effects of the water effect. Even though I would think that if aliens had created the gate, they probably would have made it a little easier to dial and than actually a rotary dial. But there's just something about it that I've always enjoyed that effect, and it's obvious because they always make a big point of it in every episode in all the movies. The effect that the ring is coming down from the spaceship. It's just those basic effects that you expect to see in a Stargate movie. It just kind of make it for some reason. It's a little bit, I guess, like the teleportation on Star Trek. There's just something satisfying about watching that. Not sure why, but it is. So all in all, very positive. They obviously used the classic movie from the series. The music from the series. So that the sound was decent. All in all, decent. Back to net control. This is KV9SOK.
Okay, next, WT9V, Michael.
There it was. I did want to mention this to Tom. The scenes in the Arctic with the submarine were not special effects. They were actually filmed live on the USS Alexandria, with it breaking through the ice and then later submerging, and the captain and the crew played themselves during the onboard scene, which is why they looked good. Just thought you'd like that tidbit. That's all I got. WT9V, back to that.
Well, that's pretty cool, and they were in the Arctic. They were on location, which impresses me that they went to that much trouble, because I know that's a hassle. Alrighty, don't really have anybody else on the list, so I have myself. Yeah, I like the Stargate effects. The problem with this show, and so many shows do this, is every week it's like a life and death crisis, and they just barely save the universe. But it's like, the Enterprise almost blowing up every week. So there's a lot of drama there in the show normally, but that's okay. It works, and it's a great vehicle to go and find other cultures and aliens and such as that. And the travel is pretty instant, so it's all very accessible. All right, well, that is all I have. Does anybody else have any other comments? All right, I'm going to call on our fearless leader, KE5ICX, to tell us if we have a future here. Go ahead.
Well, thank you, Brenda. Yes, there is a future. It's always in the past, though. Ask Mr. Etos. He'll tell you that. Next week's movie is called Time Stalker with William Devane, who played the president in tonight's movie. He plays a guy who goes back in time. It is, I think it's a made-for-TV movie from 1980, although it really doesn't look all that bad. I have not watched it. I have not previewed it because, frankly, if I did, I probably wouldn't recommend it. So, in that case, next week's movie, Time Stalker from 1980. If you'd like to be put on the Afterglow movie list, all you have to do is send an email to me, Kilo Echo 5 India Charlie X-Ray, KE5ICX @yahoo.com. Let me know that you want to be on the Afterglow movie list. I will send you the updated movie usually on Sunday, unless I forget, but 99% of the time I'll just send it to you Sunday before noontime. Or, if you don't want to do that, you can always go to Facebook and look for Afterglow Movie, 2 words, Afterglow and Movie, and then say you'd like to join. And once you join, you'll get a list under Files or Updates. Either way you get it, the information. So that's it from me, Miss Brenda. Next week's movie, Time Stalker from 1980. I think a made-for-TV movie about time travel back to the West. KE5I6.
Okay, well, thank you, and thanks to everybody that checked in and participated. So I'm going to close the net now. This is WB5OZL Clear.